Most of us are familiar with the term perfectionist, but how many of you have heard the antidote, improvanist? The perfectionist stands at the beginning of a project and looks at all of the steps that need to be done and believes that there is one way or one specific methodology that should get from here to there to ensure perfection. The improvanist sees that there is a big vision, but is looking in this moment with this outlook and the information that is currently at hand so that they can take just this next step, so that they can improve just a little bit on what happened yesterday. Now, you can feel the difference between what happens with these two. With perfectionism and improvanism, there are two big differences that I want to share. The first is often the start. When we have a mindset that is hardwired to be a perfectionist, when we've chosen that way of functioning, then very often, I've seen it again and again, we have trouble actually getting started because there's so much pressure built up for all of the things that we need to do in the future to attain that perfect goal as we imagine it right now. But the improvanist has a much easier time getting started because it's a gentler approach. It still has a big vision there at the end, a big goal, but there's much more flexibility in how they might be able to attain it. And so oftentimes the starting is easier to get the momentum going because there's not so much pressure of needing to have it all figured out. The second point and difference between improvanism and perfectionism is the willingness to explore and see new opportunities as they arise. I often use the analogy of a beautiful old forest that's thick and rich with old trees. And when I'm walking on a path, I take one step forward. And just in that one step, I can see new trees that I couldn't see before. I can perhaps see how the pathway ahead of me splits, or even that there might be 3 ways ahead. All things that I couldn't see one step back. And so if I have the idea of perfectionism, my mind is so focused on the intention that I had at the beginning, sometimes I won't even let myself look around to see what are the other opportunities that exist. But on the flip side, if I'm going for improvanism, if I'm seeing how I could improve just a little bit each day, that lightness that comes with this state of mind allows me to see and observe what's here, to see the new players in the game, to see the new paths that might open up in front of me, some of which might be even more fruitful and exciting or beneficial than the one that I had originally planned on. So, as you move forward, as you continue to grow and learn as an agri-leader, as you continue to develop your leadership skills, both self-leadership and leadership of your work, your family life, your community, how can you bring a little bit more spirit of improvanism in? A little bit more grace and gentleness to allow yourself to be able to respond to the new inputs that come with each step as you take forward, and to celebrate those wins, those little improvements of how today was just a bit better and just a bit more in alignment than yesterday.